Hey everybody, what is going on? It's your boy Iz33 bringing you a patch update today. I'm bringing you a TeamFight Tactics patch update because these updates come, weekly now? And they're very hard to actually notice the changes unless you play the game and just see it. So right now, let's go over some of the changes. And the first change, it's actually quite big, that removes certain team comps and probably change up how ranks played, and that is Brawlers. Brawlers have received a nerf in a sense that the amount of HP they get has gone basically down by 50 to 100 at each rank. This honestly isn't that big of a change, I guess, but it still sort of balances out people picking up Vi's and stuff like that. So, with that being said, it's time to see all the nerfs, and I've been expecting a few of these nerfs to come through for a while now, and the first big one's going to be Draven. Draven has now got less health and less damage. That is a really good drop there. Draven, if you haven't noticed, in TFT, just seems to be getting so much damage, especially with Imperial buff. Like, he's one of them characters, if you see in your shop, you just pick up as like a filler character. So, that's good to see nerf. Next, we got probably the biggest and most notable change is Jinx. Jinx, since release, has been pretty much a must pick for any ranked team currently. And it's good to notice the attack speed has been lowered and the damage of the rockets have been lowered. So, Rage Blade Jinx is going to have a bit less damage, but it's not that noticeable amount of damage, I'd say. Moving on, we do have Kayle that I'm kind of pleased about. Although I do tend to run Kayle comps, having the shield time lowered is going to benefit a lot of people. Haven't properly read into these nerfs, but I am hoping that with this nerf they nerf Ashe or Glacial Stun slightly, because it lasts slightly too long. However, we do notice here Lucian's ability damage is actually lowered, because if you don't realise, if you don't put AP onto Lucian, then his attack's just pure attack damage when he uses his ult, but when you use your ult, your second shot in your ultimate on Lucian is an AP shot, and it tends to do double the normal damage shot, which is actually really good. I'm glad to see them nerf that. And Vi, I'm shocked that they've changed that. Honestly, her ultimate, I guess, didn't appear too often, but I mean, it's still a decent ult to say when she got it, and it could be charged up quite quickly. Yeah, that is a good change. So, next one that I'm surprised to actually see is getting a buff is Aatrox. Aatrox, in my opinion, is really good. Although a lot of people rate him quite lowly, I still think his ultimate damage is pretty high, considering when he uses it. I would much rather have seen a mana buff, like lowering the mana cost for his ultimate, than a damage buff to his ult. But that does kind of make demon teams a bit more viable, and honestly, I could see him being used a bit more. Next, we got an Naevia buff. Yeah, a bit more health was needed on Naevia. She is seen as quite a tanky mid laner in a normal League of Legends, so I can see why they're giving her a bit more health. Nah, I guess the damage on his transformation did need it upping. I mean, he is a 4-cost character who should be doing a bit more damage in his slower attack speed form. Whereas in his normal attack speed form of the Mininar, he tends to do a decent amount of damage, I guess. MF, I'm shocked to also see a buff here. That ultimate, if you haven't watched my latest episode, where I used her did a lot of damage over a long period of time. That extra 100 damage would probably lead to me killing him, but you don't want an ult to zero someone out from full. You want it to do like 3/4 of the damage if you're a developer of this game. So I'm not too sure why they would change that. Morgana, no, she didn't need a buff. That damage, I guess that scale is a little better? It isn't. So that's technically a nerf. And they put it in. Okay. I can see why she's got a bit more armor, and that ultimate did need damage tweaking slightly, because that AoE ultimate did a lot of damage. It's why demons seem to get picked up quite a bit, because yes, they do have the mana drain, as well as they do a lot of damage on a lot of targets at once, so I don't get why they've changed that. Finally, Shen. Yeah, I can see why they did that. Because a lot of the time, he's considered a tank, and when he is picked, his ultimate tends to not get popped like at level 2 and 3 when he's that level, so giving him the extra health is always beneficial. Moving on, we've got a few more item changes, and the major item change here is Loon's Echo. Loon's Echo has had a damage nerf. As much as it's very rarely used, it's still a decent item when you've got characters like Lissandra. Lissandra just plops her ult on someone, and then the AoE damage spreads. It's a very good item to put on her. And with that damage being slightly altered, I still see it being picked up for Lissandra players, but that change really shouldn't make much difference. Lastly, a few bug fixes to cover. Basically changing how matchmaking works, because if you don't realize, you go up against the same person quite a few times, and honestly, in the last game I faced Space Rainbow twice, and we both finished top 3, so we very rarely faced each other, even though I prepared my team to counter her, shall we say. And now, the other bug fix obviously is Hextech. Now, Hextech obviously being new did need to probably have a few bugs, and I didn't realize that Ionic Spark got absolutely destroyed, because I never really built that item. Like, Ionic Spark, yes, it's decent in the sense that it's a free 200 damage when you're going up against shapeshifters, who you basically nullify the shapeshifter buff. But I never realized that it actually disabled it for the entire round. But that's gonna be this actual episode of Patch Rundown. If you like this, subscribe if you're new around here, leave a like down below, and I will see you guys later.